Hello, hello, hello. We're back again, African King Academy. Back for episode 2 of the Club World Cup adventure. This time we're talking about Group B. Now, this group had a bit more intrigue, a bit more interest into it, a bit more, je ne sais quoi, as you can say. Um, Going into it, I was intrigued to see how Atletico Madrid was gonna stack up against this PSG side, and I was a bit disappointed in Atletico. I feel like um they weren't as defensively solid as I expected. I feel like Simeone got outclassed, outmanned, outgunned by Enrique, and I think PSG's superior superiority shone through. I'm not recording again, but yeah. Anyway, um, I would say this when it comes to PSG. I think they've carried on the form that got them to the Champions League, got them to the league treble, Champions League title, and the cup, Coupe de France or whatever it's called. And I feel like from minute one they dominated. They did their pattern, kick it, to the corner, pressed high, intensity. And I think Atletico couldn't handle it. I don't think they had an answer to PSG's press, PSG's movement, PSG's class, and I feel like throughout the game it was a one-sided match, and I think PSG, for me personally, are the favourites going into this tournament, and they showed it. They showed why they're the best team in Europe. They showed not only that they're one of the best teams in the world, and I think they're a team to be afraid of. It was a statement win. That's the kind of win that shows, okay, we're here not to mess about. We're here to take this. We want that badge on our chest for the next 4 years. We've got the team. We've built a squad over a number of years. We got rid of the Galactico hirings, and we created a team under a manager that knows how to win. And it was a dominant performance. I think for Atletico, they're lacking strikers for me. I feel like they need someone alongside Alvarez that's a bit more youthful. I think they should go for a Darwin Nunez, maybe even look at the Yokerez as well. I feel that's what they're missing. I think with their attackers, they're aging out a bit. Their defense is aging out a bit. They need to freshen up their squad. I think that's what Atletico Madrid had the problem. That's why they had the problem dealing with PSG. It was similar to their game against Inter Milan. PSG against a older team is gonna dominate because your old legs ain't gonna be able to carry the same speed, the same intensity as these young boys, and you need when they're hitting you machine for machine, you need to respond as such. You can't be bringing knives to a gunfight, and that's what Atletico Madrid in that game. And as I said, it was a statement win. It was um, brilliant finishes, brilliant play for each of the goals, and I feel like PSG is going to be a problem. Um, I will say this though, there are teams that can compete with them. It'll be interesting to see how Madrid do under their new manager, how Man City do with the new signings. Obviously, the window's back open again, so you can get signings for the later rounds up past the group stage. So even Chelsea can improve their squad over time. So it'll be interesting to see what teams do over time, especially the major European sides. Um, for me, I think PSG are undoubtedly gonna go through this group, and for Atletico, they're gonna have to play at a better level to beat the two teams. I think against Seattle Sounders they'll win, but Botafogo impressed me. They impressed me a lot in their game against Seattle. I think they showed a lot of talent, and the South American teams, in terms of get their two games in between Group A and B, have impressed me a little bit as well. There is a lot of talent over there. And you can see it. They had a very impressive first half, led the game. Obviously, Seattle tried to come back into it, but I think Seattle also lacked the talent going forward. I think as an MLS team, for me, the level wasn't to the standard that I'm used to watching European football. I saw some bits and pieces where Seattle looked promising, but the the lack of, I would say, mentality in terms of the finishing and the lack of mentality in terms of the play was the difference. I think Botafogo wanted it more. They seemed a bit more intense than Seattle, and I feel like they were just a better team overall on that day. And yeah, man, it was a good win for Botafogo, to a 2-1 win. They get points on the board, and all they need to do now is to try and get some points against Atletico Madrid, and I think that's possible. I think Atletico Madrid is gonna have to win their next two games. Um, will they do that? Who knows? I think they need to play a lot better than they did against PSG. But at the same time, I am aware that you're playing the best team at the moment right now. So even though you've lost badly, who knows what PSG will do to Botafogo and Seattle? So that's probably gonna it's probably gonna be a thing where if Botafogo can get a draw against Atletico Madrid, and maybe not lose as embarrassingly against PSG, they may go through on goal difference, and that could be one of the shocks of the tournament. And I wasn't really expecting that when it comes to the group stage. I was expecting a bit more from the European teams, and so far PSG is the only European team that in these first two groups that have played to the level. And it's interesting to see how Simeone changes his style, because I think he was very defensive for PSG, and it makes sense. You're coming up against a beautiful attacking team, a quality midfield, and I think against Botafogo and Seattle, you're gonna have to let your team loose and allow them to show that the quality that they do have in the team, and play a more attacking style of football to get those wins in those games. Because if they don't, then we're going to look at one of the first big teams to be maybe even knocked out of the tournament, which it's a surprise to say, considering Atletico Madrid is the third biggest team in Spain, a team that's always in the Europeans elite competition, but their style of football is very defensive, and they are an aging team as well. So I feel like they do need a bit of an injection of youth. So I think if they are looking into the market, get a young striker, Darweezy, get a Jokeres, try and get a young striker alongside Alvarez in, and look to maybe even youthen up the team ranks, because I feel like for their future, and the future of football, European football in general, I think it's getting younger and younger, and I feel like this middle generation hasn't been the best of talent wise, and you can see it when it comes to the level of football. But I think these younger players are bringing back the quality. You're looking at the younger players being the best out there when it comes to Europeans elite. Your Yamals, your Duways, even when it comes to KK and players of that ilk, they're much younger, and these under 25s are up and coming young players, are some of the best in the tournament so far as well. So be very interesting going forward. I think this is a group that I didn't expect it to be as exciting as first thought. I think I've kind of tossed and turned when it came to the Atletico Madrid, but I feel like Botafogo now have a chance, and that's all they really need. And I think when it comes, and for me, the South American teams are some of the dark horses when it comes to this tournament. And you could see in the first two groups that both South American teams could make it through to the next round, which will be an interesting sight to see them against some of the European elites as well, the better European teams, because it's most likely they'll finish second in their groups. Maybe even Palmeiras might even finish first in their group. So in terms of Group B, PSG gonna lead the way, and Botafogo has a chance. They by getting that crucial win against Seattle, they've given them a chance to get through, and that's all you really need in a tournament like this. Is three straight games. If they can get something against Atletico, and damage control against PSG, then yeah, that will be something interesting. But this is Group B. It's not really much else I can say. For me, it's surprising how poor the quality of the MLS teams as well have been. But I feel like, as I said in the previous video, hopefully this tournament allows for more interest in the game, and a better level of athletes joining the game. Because America's when it comes to the athletes, are some of the best in the world. But there's a lot of different sports that they can get into, and I think football/soccer, whatever you want to call it over there in the States, is something that they need to invest in a bit more, especially within their league. I think more money needs to be invested in the young talents and producing more stars, because you have enough people to produce talented footballers over there. But yeah, Botafogo, you surprised me. Paris Saint Germain dominant. Atletico Madrid have a lot to do to get that goal difference back up to give themselves the opportunity to get to the next round. But yeah, that's Group B, and this is African King Academy, and I'm out. Peace.